let me start by getting your thoughts on the Bank of England. There's a big focus on the calendar today. We see the pound is down 0.1% against the US dollar, not a great deal of movement, currently at around, where are we, 124.81. What do we watch for and what moves, do you think, Ven, in terms of UK assets on the BOE?
Morning, Anna. Today feels like the Fed 6 months ago for the BOE. Back at the end of 2023, the markets were thinking, you know what, 6 rate cuts are possible for the Fed this year. And here we are, almost at the end, at the start of May, and the markets are still thinking, when are we going to get even the first rate cut? The BOE has lessons to take away from that experience. The markets are now thinking, we will get a first rate cut, possibly as early as June. Now, what is the real economic case for that? If you look at core inflation, that's bobbing around 4%, north of 4% actually. If you look at services inflation, that is at 6%. Okay, the BOE expects inflation to temporarily slow to 2% sometime in the spring, and we have to see evidence of that yet. But even by the BOE's own admission, inflation is going to accelerate after that. So where is the headroom for the BOE to go uber dovish and start cutting rates? There just isn't that kind of headroom. Because if you look at the real policy rate, adjusted for services inflation, it is actually, UK is still running a real negative policy rate. And you don't cut rates when your real policy rate is negative. Yes, the BOE may have scope to cut rates later in the year, but we will see. Which is why I'm thinking that, you know, if the BOE pivots dovishly, that will send the markets into a tizzy. It will roil the pound in the short term. Anna?
OK, so just briefly, then, the risk is that they don't cut until when? When do you think the first cut will come?
I think that the first rate cut will come probably in August. I don't think it will come in June because, you know, as I said, the BOE is expecting inflation to re-accelerate. And at least some of the more hawkish members on the committee will want to see evidence of this, that inflation is slowing beyond the second quarter. If it doesn't slow beyond the second quarter, there is no proof of sustainable inflation settling at 2%. And that sustainable is the key word today as for the markets. And that is what the markets will be watching for from the BOE statement.